I have a behavior monitoring plan that is used for students that have trouble following through with the rules and expectations of behavior for my 6th grade class. Those rules and expectations have to do with respect, responsibility, and maintaining the class culture. There are classroom expectations. There are expectations for when they're not in the classroom, maybe they're in the library, the hallway, etc. And expectations for if they're away from school. The behavior monitoring sheet, I'm calling it the blue sheet, and I'm doing that to make it simple for students because it's blue. It has 3 main categories and 3 subcategories to each main category, and a final row at the bottom, the tally zone. It has 4 columns: checkoff zone, category score, goal for today's behavior, and notes. The categories are respect others, responsibility, and maintain our culture. The subcategories of respect others are do not interrupt, raise your hand to talk, obey the quiet signal, keep hands and feet to yourself. For responsibility, we list be prepared for class, help others, say please and thank you, and cheer for peers. Try hard to learn, take risks. For maintaining our culture, I list 3 items. You remember that you are an important member of our class. You are responsible for your own learning. You maintain your assigned duties. How you use the blue sheet is teachers and students are the ones who use the blue sheet to record classroom behavior. When it's used is when a student exhibits chronic, minor, or serious inappropriate behavior. How it's used is students may use it as a guide to keep themselves on track, monitor themselves. Teachers may use it to monitor and document student behavior. Multiple blue sheets represent data that can be used to determine a pattern of behavior within a specific context, allowing for a targeted solution. Teachers may use it to compare the student's guide for the same class period to ensure that the student understands what is and is not appropriate behavior. Students keep blank and next day blue sheets in a folder. Teachers file completed blue sheets as a means of documentation to compile data. We're going to take a moment to look at a completed blue sheet, and then I'm going to talk about specifics. The heading is filled in, and the students simply make a check mark if they do not follow a behavior expectation. We tally all the check marks. They also look at the check marks after class to gauge and give themselves a category score. So this doesn't take a lot of time away from class. They simply make a check mark if they realize, oh, I blurted out, I talked without raising my hand, or I interrupted somebody, or I wasn't prepared for class, I forgot my pencil. You get a check, you give yourself a check mark for that. Here's some of the specifics. The heading is filled out for each period the sheet is used. The second column is used for students to simply make a check mark whenever they display inappropriate behavior within one of the 9 subcategories, and I showed that to you. Later, the check marks can be used to determine an overall score for each of the 3 categories for that period. Prior to the start of class, the goal for each category should be filled in. The goal needs to reflect an improvement over the prior class period. A good time to fill out the heading and the goal for the next class period is at the time you're tallying today's totals. Notes by the teacher are placed in the 3rd column. Actually, it's 4th column. I just have a typo. I might need to fix that. I might note the time frame or context when something happened, or what happened, like for example, forgot pencil. The teacher can note a time or context in which the inappropriate behavior occurred. Bell work during a quiz, a transition time, meaning, going from one activity to another. This may point to a contextual pattern of behavior. The bottom row is used to tally total check marks, total overall score, 6 is a maximum score, 3 categories, maximum 2 points in each, an overall total goal, and finally a connection to a reinforcement plan in the form of a list of times or contexts when the student was at their best. So let's look at that again. This student takes learning risks, really makes an effort. This is a very bright student. This student maintains assigned duties, the duties that they have in their team and within the classroom. I don't have to remind that student to do them. They seem to take pride in getting their duties done. And one of the best times during the class period that this student is at their best is during independent practice. Well, this can tell me a couple of things. Independent practice is at the end of class. Maybe it takes that student a while to get rolling with our program when they come to this math class. Maybe it's just that this student works best by themselves. Maybe the team format that we work within isn't best for this student. So there's a couple of things that I could take from the fact that this student is at their best during independent practice. Now this is just one blue sheet. If I were to compile several blue sheets and really compile the data and then take a look, maybe this was the only time they were good during independent practice. Maybe it happens every single day that is the time that they're at their best, and then I can target the best possible way to reinforce that student and help them meet our behavior goals 100% of the time. Other things that I think the blue sheet does for us, it gives the student a chance to monitor their own behavior. I think kind of in the heat of the battle, which can sometimes feel like the class period for a student, they don't remember that they've already blurted out 3 times. But if they have that right in front of them and they're the one that checked it off, it helps them stay on track. I think this also helps the teacher gather data, and it helps clarify what the expectation for behavior is. Now, this isn't going to work if you haven't gone over in detail what is appropriate behavior and what is inappropriate behavior and given examples in each subcategory. So this is something that happens after you introduce the behavior expectations to the class. Thank you very much.